And now, the general weather around Alaska.
First graphic is showing a high wind warning that's out for Tuesday until 6 p.m. Tuesday during the daytime hours here for the southern southeast coast. Pretty active front coming up will kick the winds up quite a bit, more so than the system moving through today. We're looking at gusts tomorrow sustained winds 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts to 60 or above miles per hour there. Again, that's for the day tomorrow, Tuesday. And satellite imagery showing one system moving northwestward, another system moving northwestward here off the southeast coast. And that brought heaviest wind and rain down over the southern areas today. It was much lighter on both counts up to the north. About an inch of rain falling in Ketchikan, winds gusting anywhere from 25 to 35, few areas seeing gusts 40 miles an hour. A lot of clouds spreading northwestward here, with the heaviest precipitation down over southern Cook Inlet in toward Iliamna and toward Kaliganek there, with lighter amounts up to the north. Some areas of light snow here in a narrow band over the western interior. Mostly just clouds here, some clearing over Kodiak Island, and clouds from the next system down there to the south that's going to bring the high wind warning into the southern panhandle. Otherwise, not much going on out here over the Bering Sea. We are watching the system up here over the low center over the Arctic, and the front developing here over the Russian Far East is going to be dropping southeastward and should bring quite an area of light snow into the northwest part of the state, North Slope, and along into the Yukon Delta along the cold front as it drops southeastward. And that will pull much colder air in for later in the week here that'll spread over all of interior Alaska. And rolling this through again, you'll see the most of the action, or all of the action here, is off the southeast coast. Next system down here to the south, not really on the picture yet, but it's about 989 millibar low here, bringing the gale force winds and rain to the southern panhandle, lighter wind and rain up to the north. Dry for the North Gulf Coast, central eastern interior dry, and then some precipitation here along this trough, mostly in the form of rain, southern Cook Inlet into Kamishak Bay, Iliamna, northeast Bristol Bay, and into the Kuskokwim Valley. This light precipitation amounts mostly of rain, and then a narrow band of snow extending up along that trough axis there into the across the Kotzebue-Selawik into the southern Brooks Range there. And again, no significant snowfall amounts occurred with that feature. And again, dry to the east and some sunshine breaking out around Kodiak Island today. And good northerly winds here, anywhere from 25 gusts, maybe as high as 45 miles an hour over the eastern Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula, out of the north primarily, or north-northwest, with some shower activity associated with that. It extends all the way up to the Nunivak Island area. And then high pressure out here to the west, and the forecast for tonight, here's that Arctic front coming down, or east-southeastward there. That'll spread snow into the western Arctic coast and then eventually into the central north slope and southward along the northwest coast there into the Bering Strait. Shishmaref, increasing chances of snow tonight, but stays dry south of that area. Still some showers and gusty winds here for the Alaska Peninsula. And winds diminishing, though, over the southwest interior, especially as this front drops in from the northwest and relaxes that gradient quite a bit from what it was today. Light winds, dry conditions over the interior, but that low center today in this position really weakens as it pulls northwestward here into just a trough. That'll spread or keep some rain going in across southern Cook Inlet and the Barren Islands, clipping Fognak Island there into Kamishak Bay, and chance of rain, light rain along the North Gulf Coast, and stays damp there over the panhandle, but rainfall rates will diminish, and winds with this next system start to increase late tonight, but that'll happen during the morning hours tomorrow, and by tomorrow afternoon, this front will be right off the south coast there. So look for good gale force winds on the southern panhandle coastline, increasing wind and rain even over the central and northern sections later in the day, but the heaviest rain and wind, again, will be over the southern panhandle. Again, gusts 60 miles an hour possible. Dry central southern interior here, still breezy over the Alaska Peninsula, those northerly winds, but ridging high pressure here, light winds for the Yukon Delta, and maybe some clearing here for the Kuskokwim Valley down into Togiak Bay maybe over toward Dillingham a little bit, possibly even some partly sunny skies for the Kuskokwim Delta. And this Arctic front spreads snow eastward, that low tracking eastward there. And that's going to kick the west winds up on the western or the eastern Arctic coast there out of the west, getting a little brisk there. And then back to the west, lighter winds, but snow down to the Seward Peninsula. Mixed precipitation in St. Lawrence Island. High pressure ridging into the central and southern Bering Sea, keeping most of this moisture and directing it north and then feeding it into that frontal boundary there over the northwest Bering Sea. Then we'll see for Wednesday, pretty good system finally pulls into the western Bering there, and that front advances eastward, bringing wind and rain into the central Aleutians for Adak and Atka during the afternoon hours. Arctic front here with some areas of light snow associated with it from the Yukon Delta. Becomes more widespread over this as you get up toward that low center over the western Brooks Range. So Koyukuk Valley back out toward Kotzebue, north across the North Slope and Arctic coast. Look for snow in that area. And dry to the east and dry with some clearing. Could be a fair amount of clearing here for south central Alaska, Susitna, Matanuska Valley, Prince William Sound. Northeast Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island. This low center pulling northward here. Probably another front develops moving into about this position. That'll keep it wet and windy over the central and southern southeast coast, but not as wet and windy as it'll be tomorrow with the first front coming in, but the low center weakening considerably here down about, let's see, 976 millibars there, weakens 12 millibars as it pulls up to the north here off the southeast coast, and that'll spread some rain up to Yakutat, and a chance of rain as far west as probably Cape St. Elias or so. Lows tonight in the 40s to near 50, or in the 40s for the southeast coast, 30s here, south central Alaska, west and north of the Alaska Range in the 20s, 40 for Kodiak Island, lower 40s in the Aleutians, 20s central interior, and 15 to 20 for the Brooks Range into the North Slope, then back into the 20s along the Arctic coast. Highs tomorrow, lower 30s for the Arctic coast, 20s for the North Slope Brooks Range, 30 south of the Brooks Range into the Kuskokwim Valley, in fact, Yukon Kuskokwim Delta, 35 to 40 for the highs, in the 40s for Bristol Bay, 45 to 50 south central Alaska, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula near 50 for Kodiak, and 50s for the Panhandle. And then the lows Wednesday morning get a little chillier here up through the Brooks Range in the North Slope, 5 to 10 for the lows, and 15 to 22 for the Arctic coast. Teens and 20s, central interior now, 20s all the way down into Bristol Bay, and lower 30s here along the southwest coast, lower 40s for the Aleutians, upper 30s Kodiak Island, mid-20s Copper River Basin, and 40s to lower 50s for the Panhandle. Followed by highs, not much change here, again in the 50s for the southeast coast there, and lower to mid-40s, some possible upper 40s for the Kenai Peninsula for the highs on Wednesday afternoon. But staying below freezing here in the central interior, upper 20s to near 30 or into the lower 30s. Same thing for the Seward Peninsula, 15 to 20 for the Brooks Range, and then the 20s for the Arctic coast, 45 to 50 out over the central Aleutians.